Hello and welcome back to Concert Critiques in Cars with Emily. So tonight's show is kind of different from most of the other shows that I go to. Went to this show just based off of this band and one of their songs that they have that I absolutely love. And so I did listen to their new album that came out and I did really like that. So I was like, all right, well at least I'll go and they'll play hopefully 3 songs that I really love. So the band I went to go see was the Cinematic Orchestra, and they play at the 930 Club, and PBDY and Photay opened for them. So getting there was actually pretty easy, and I was surprised that I was able to find parking because it was the Nats parade because they won the World Series, and also it's like still technically Halloween weekend, so I was pleasantly surprised that I was able to find parking in my normal spot. So anyway, so getting to the show wasn't that bad. The traffic wasn't bad either. So let's get into it. So according to the internet, the show started at 8:30. Doors were at 8 and then the show was going to start at 8:30. So when I got there at 8:20, the first band, PBDY, was already playing. And so he basically had like a computer set up with definitely like a soundboard for sure. And he he was just kind of okay. There wasn't really anything that struck out at me as like something to be like, whoa, this is like so fantastic. I can't wait to listen to it on my own. There were definitely some moments where I was like, ooh, this is interesting, and it kind of pulled me out of my own head, and I was like, oh man, like I really liked that part, especially when there was a lot of strings to it, and there wasn't really a lot of lyrics either. But yeah, so there was one part where the lyric, or the word, it was a lyric because it was definitely saying, lately I've been singing the song by myself. So that was something that kind of got repeated over and over again for a while, like 20 minutes after I'd gotten there. And again, like there was one part with strings and like a little bit of lyrics, and so I really did like that. And it was interesting because there were definitely times where he himself was like super into it and like really kind of like almost like headbanging, and then there were just, for the most part though, he was just kind of nodding his head. And then after that, Photay came on, and it was actually kind of nice. There was no transition, so both of their sets were set up on the same table. So kind of right after PBDY was done, Photay just kind of came on, which was again kind of nice. He had like a 5-minute instrumental introduction, which I wasn't a huge fan of, before he kind of stopped and started talking and introduced himself. So I was fine, kind of glad that didn't last super long. But he was kind of cool and different because instead of just having the computer and the like soundboard, he actually like played the drum kit soundboard and then like also played the keyboard a little bit throughout the songs. So that was kind of a nice little change and difference compared to the first guy. And I didn't really love, like there was this like sax, so the second song that he played, there was this like sax sounding part in the beginning, and I really didn't like that, and I was like, oh boy. But after that, it was like the keyboard part was so much better, and so I actually really liked that. At one point he stopped in the middle of a song and was just like, so are you guys like feeling it? Because like I can feel it, but I just want to make sure that your chests are like feeling it. And he was like, because if not, then like it's gotta hit. And I was like, okay, I don't really know what that means, but sure, I guess it's hitting. So then he told us the title of the next song, which was Balsam Massacre. He was like, you just like do with that what you may. I don't know if he was like looking for a reaction, because no one really like cheered or kind of said anything for that matter. So I don't know, that was just like an interesting thing, and that song was fine. It was, again, nothing like super grabbing. There was one part of a song that reminded me of Jurassic Park a little bit, and then towards the end of his set, there was one part that reminded me of Bombay Bicycle Club song, and I was like, oh my god, I actually really like this song. But again, just like overall, there was nothing that really, other than the Bombay Bicycle part and the Jurassic Park thing, that the Jurassic Park thing really made me like come out of whatever thought I was in. I was like, wait, was that Jurassic Park? Which again, I totally could not have been. It just made me think of Jurassic Park. And then the Bombay Bicycle Club part at the end, I was like, wow, I really like this because it reminds me so much of Bombay Bicycle Club. So then after that, Peabody came back out, which I was not expecting and was actually kind of nervous about, because so I knew that they had to take the table down, and I was like, they're supposed to go on at 10:10 according to the website, and it's already like 9:50, so I don't know how Peabody's gonna play. But he did, and he said that he played stuff off of his new record, and I actually really, so much better than the stuff that he had played previously. It was like the stuff he had played previously before Photay went on was just like random noises kind of collected together that kind of occasionally made sense. But these songs were much more cohesive, and they were just like actual songs. And so I actually really liked the first one. Not a huge fan of the second one. Did not really like the second one. But then I did really like the third one. So yeah, I liked the male vocals on the third one, and yeah, and the strings and the bass of that part after the third song was really good too. So really actually ended up being glad that he came back out, because I thought that part was much better than the first time, and also Photay, compared to Photay, I liked that better as well. And so Photay had more songs that were, again, like cohesive, but just maybe the style wasn't, I don't know, there was just something missing. I'm not sure what it was, but it definitely was. So the transition between Peabody and Cinematic Orchestra was actually very short. I was impressed. It was only like 10 minutes, and they came out right away. So that was good. They did technically start late according to the website, which again, I know it's like, these are just like things that could be changed, and it's not whatever definite. So they were like technically like 7 minutes late. They went on at 10:17. They were supposed to go on at 10:10. So that wasn't too bad. So they opened with an instrumental song of theirs that I absolutely love, and it was so great, and it was just such a good way to start off. And it's just one of those songs that like you really can just kind of lose yourself in, and just like think about, just not just like randomly think about things that you're distracted with, but kind of the song leads your thoughts into thinking whatever, and it's just great. So I really, really like that opener, and I thought it was a really good choice. Really nice way to kind of get people to kind of see all the different instruments that are going to be played and all the different people playing them. So I really like that. So then for the second song, a female vocalist came on stage, and I really liked the instrumental more than I liked the singing part. And listen, her voice was fantastic. She really did have a good, powerful voice, but it was just, I don't know if it was the lyrics or just the like way she was singing in comparison to the way the instrumentals were. I really, really liked the instrumentals, was not a huge fan of the singing. So their next song people went like super crazy for, and it sounded honestly a little bit like James Bondy to me. And an oboe was played, and so that part got kind of whiny, like towards like after a while of it playing. I was like, okay, it's like a little bit too much. But after the oboe part, there was an awesome drum solo, so that definitely redeemed the end of that song for sure. The next song had like a really jazzy feel to it, so that was just kind of but it was kind of cool because it was like jazz, but then like there was definitely like an electronic aspect to it. So I did like the electronic aspect, but again, just like overall, even the electronic aspect with the jazz, it was just kind of all like it was fine. It's not bad, it just was So after that, the saxophone player came out and did this kind of cool thing. So I've seen this with words before, but not necessarily saxophone. So the saxophone player came out and played saxophone and like looped it, and then added another loop, and then added another loop, and then added another loop. So that was actually really cool. I really liked that effect. And then of course, like a couple minutes in, it like became too much. It was like he added this like really like deep and like loud like note, and then picked the oboe up and started doing it with the oboe, and it was just like, it just kind of almost became noise, and it just wasn't great anymore. And so kind of as that was fading out, the keyboard started playing, so that was definitely like a good choice on their part. But yeah, like towards the end it was just basically like noise, so that I was really a fan of at the beginning, and I really liked it at the beginning, but then towards the end it just was not something that I enjoy listening to. So then the female singer came back out, and I really, really loved the piano in this song. Really was not a big fan of the singing, just and only because it was the same 2 lines repeated over and over and over again about being like just wanting to know how far and being near and how far. I couldn't. It was like, okay, we need either new words or this song needs to end. So yeah, I was not the biggest fan of that singing, but I really loved the piano in that song, so that was awesome. Then they played a new song off their album that I love, and it's like my favorite song, and it was so good, and there was singing, and they had it was just great. It was so good. I really liked it. The male singer was fantastic. The lyrics to that song were so good. And again, I don't even know if I really realized what the lyrics were until I saw it live, but just everything about it was fantastic. I really liked seeing the instrumental part live, and I really liked seeing the singer live. And then they played another jazzy sounding song that had like a pre-recorded voice to it. And so it's interesting because I feel like that pre-recorded voice kept my attention more in that jazzy part, because again, I'm not a huge fan of the jazz, so it was interesting because I feel like that voice kind of kept my attention, so I did like that one more than the previous jazz song for sure. Then after that, he introduced the band, and they played another new track, which was so they introduced the band to end the set. Well, obviously I was hoping that they would come back for an encore because they still hadn't played the one song that I wanted to see. And so they played a newer one. I want to say it was A Promise, and that's already not my favorite song off the album, so I was a little bit disappointed that they decided to end with that one, especially because it's definitely a slower song to start. And again, just not a great set ender, especially after they had just played the song that I knew and totally loved. But then it was weird, and I don't know if this happens in the original song because I maybe haven't listened to it enough. Well, I definitely haven't listened to it enough, but the music kind of dropped, and then they kind of shifted directions, and man, when they shifted directions, it was so good. The drum beat was more upbeat, and it was just really fantastic. I really, really liked the keyboard part as well. So it was just the keyboard changed and the drums changed, and I thought that was just so great, and I really, really liked that, and I thought that was a great, fantastic choice, and it definitely changed my opinion about ending the show with that song, because all of a sudden it went from being this slow song to, oh wait, actually this is pretty good. So I was really glad with that choice in the end, for sure. So they went off stage, and just the female singer and the guy who was doing the male vocals came back out, and the male had a guitar, an acoustic guitar with him, and so of course he plays the first couple notes of the song that I wanted to hear, which is To Build a Home, and I was so pumped, and I was all right, so this is going to be acoustic for sure, so it's definitely going to be a little bit different. And again, he was kind of so he played that first chord and then kind of changed a couple things, and you're okay, so it'll be a little bit different. Well, let me tell you, the song was so different. I, first of all, love the song, right? Know the song by heart. Couldn't understand the first 3 lines of the chorus, which, again, know the song by heart. So I was really, really just devastatingly disappointed, because I love the song and thought that no matter what, I'd be able to at least understand the lyrics to the chorus of the song. The verses I can understand fine, but again, it was just the weird music and just the different way that it was sang, and I'm trying to not be unfair, just because the guy who sang it tonight is not the original singer. And so I get that you're not going to have the same emotion. And there was definitely a point where he talks about, I held on as tightly as you held on to me. And he did try and put emotion behind that. And he kind of paused and let the, kind of let you feel that emotion. but it just wasn't enough. And just such the drastic difference. And like, you know, it makes me think of Stressed Out by 21 Pilots, right? He hates playing that song, so he changed it. And the changes, I think, are good, but they're not so drastic that I can't understand what you're saying, and it's not like just so different. And so I don't know, I just was really disappointed, and I basically bought a ticket just to see that song, and then just happened to listen to the new album when it came out. So yeah, I was really disappointed, like so disappointed. And then after the second chorus, the whole band came back, and they had slowly been coming back on stage during the song, and then they all started playing. So like, at least that was a cool effect, but I was really disappointed. And then after that, they played 2 more songs. So the next song they played was a very like slow song, definitely a fine follow-up to the not so great version of To Build a Home, but again, just not like a great encore song in general. And then the last song they played was like straight up jazz, and I am not an instrument player. I could barely play the clarinet after not having played for like 10 years. But it just, like, after 5 minutes of just the same like drum thing, I'm over it. And it's midnight, and you should have started this concert doors should have been at 7 like they normally were. Could have started at 7:30, could have been done by 11 instead of midnight. Maybe I would have been a little bit happier. Oh, just so much jazz, So I was not a fan of that song pretty much at all. Didn't really enjoy it. Again, it was fun to like watch them all enjoy playing their instruments, but okay, so this is definitely going to be the lowest score I've given any concert. It just, oh my god, between the opener, which I was, again, not a huge fan of in general. I mean, definitely when Peabody came back out, at least there were 2 songs of that's like 3 songs of the 4 that I actually enjoyed, although the second one I did not enjoy at all. But Photay, I did not enjoy pretty much any of it. I mean, there were parts that were good, like the Bombay Bicycle sounding part was great, but yeah, like just overall, it just was not very intriguing. It didn't at all like pique my interest or kind of tear me away from my head. Yeah, man, I honestly, I'm so devastated also about the cinematic orchestra, like not playing To Build a Home in a way that was enjoyable for me, and it makes me so sad. I really love that song, and I really wanted to enjoy seeing it live. And then like on top of that, with cinematic orchestra, not that any other song was bad except for the last one, I really did not enjoy that. They were all just kind of like good, except for the first one, which I loved, and then the one that they played from their new album that I loved. So like there were really only 2 songs in that entire set, an entire hour and 40 minutes of playing that was like excellent. And again, there was kind of no song other than the 2 that I knew by heart that really had pulled my attention. I was like, oh my gosh, man, I gotta figure out what song this is. Yeah, I don't know. I'm like so sad that this is not gonna be a good score. But I think I'm gonna have to give this I think I'm gonna have to give this a 5.5. I know that seems so low, especially compared to some other shows that probably should have maybe not been as high as they were, but yeah, 5.5 is what I'm giving it. So please comment, let me know if you think that's fair. Is it unfair? Were you there? Did you want to go? Did you go to a different show in a different city? Have you seen them on a different tour? Let me know, comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.